let's revisit this a little bit. Please keep in mind that the method we use now is called the force method, because we try to solve the force directly. Or another name is called the method of consistent form, because definition. So that means from indeterminate structure. Oh, sorry. That's spelling. Indeterminate structure. First thing we do is we create what we call the primary structure, right? Now we create the primary structure how? By removing redundant. Oops, don't want to. By removing redundant, you turn your indeterminate structure into a determinate one, which is called a primary structure. So when you have a primary structure, now you have two tracks, which may confuse some students. Track one is the calculation or deformation, right? Corresponding to the redundant remove. Okay. Now, when we calculate the deformation corresponding to the redundant remove, this is due to actual. Now, when you come down to this, remember that what you do is the calculation of deformation. You may do this by any method that you think is suitable for your situation. What that means, you can apply your unit load at the direction at the location in the direction that you want to calculate the displacement. That would be the displacement due to the actual. Okay, and then you will have the calculation for deformation. I'm running out of space here. So corresponding to the reaction, or again, it's redundant. This time is due to the reaction itself. Okay, so two things. So don't get confused about when you should apply the unit load. Get this first. There are two categories of deformations in calculus. First is due to the actual load after you remove the redundant. If you do not remove the redundant, there will not be that deformation, correct? But after you remove it, you sort of allow the deformation to take place. So you can calculate that. And the trick is that when you remove redundants, the thing is, the structure becomes determinate. So you can actually calculate whatever you want with the structure. This time we must calculate deflection. The fact that we can calculate deflection comes from the structure being turned into a determinate structure. Okay? how are you going to calculate deformation? It's up to you. If you are going to use virtual work, this is when you apply unit in the right manner. And then you turn to another category of deformation, that is the deformation due to the reaction that you remove. Again, you have to sort of try to assume. Somebody raise a hand. Please speak up. The problem.
อาจารย์ครับ sorry for interruption ครับ it seems like your sound is very quiet and
Really?
my yeah
I should have said earlier. So hang on a minute. I think I turned this on. Be on. So let me. Is this better?
yes it is better ครับอาจารย์
It is better. I will. Okay. Turn up the volume a little bit more. So that should be even better. But you know, folks here, they're gonna have a hearing problem. This is very loud here. I think
thank you so much ครับอาจารย์
feedback problem. Okay, you know what? Talk about the feedback problem. Jimi Hendrix was the first guitarist to play with the feedback sound, where he sort of created crazy sound of the guitar, for example, the sound of the rocket, or the sound of the machine gun by using the guitar, playing the national anthem in protest of the war. Imagine someone playing our national anthem and make it sound like a machine gun. Oh, he'd be in jail for a long time. Anyway, you know, I didn't mean that. I'll go to jail as well. Anyway, okay. So here. Now, keep in mind that when you have two sets of, so this is generally done by virtual work, maybe. That's right, and virtual. So you know, your work here is like double because you have to calculate the two sets of deflection before you can bring them together and create what we call compatibility equation. Right? So you have to keep in mind where you are when you do the calculation. If you know where you are, you know why you do this. Say things should be okay. You don't get confused when you calculate deformation. Okay. I cannot explain more than this. If you still don't get it, the only way to try to get it is to practice. Okay. Now let me now that we are at it, let me tell you why we have the capital letter and the small letter. Okay. But please, this is for the sake of knowledge. Okay. For the sake of your knowledge load, so don't get worked up with it. Let's say I have this B. Now I have more reactions. So how many degrees of redundancy we have? 2 degree redundancy, correct? So that means we have to remove 2 reactions, correct? So the fact that we remove 2 reactions means that you're going to have a lot more calculated. So let's call this traditionally as A, B, C, and D. Okay. When I remove this, let's make a simple beam out of this. I will have this. Now I will have the deformation. So okay, you may think, hey, how can we have deflection when we don't have the load? So let me give some kind of load as well. Now, this becomes delta B, deflection or deformation at B. This becomes deformation at C. Now, it gets a little bit more overwork when you try to calculate the displacement due to the reaction itself. Okay, so let's say I'm going to try to calculate the displacement caused by RV, but I am going to apply the unit load here because that's how I like it. Okay. Remember, this is for your knowledge. I'm not gonna put this in the exam. The 2 degree of redundancy is too much. I did not go. If you can't let him, if you can't get it, just let him stay there. It's not the most difficult thing in the world. When I apply the unit load here, this is what we call deflection at B due to the load at B. See? But because we have two reactions now, so this reaction will not only cause the deformation, it also cause the deformation there. Right? So that's the catch. So here will be deflection at C due to unit load at B. See, that's why we have to subscript. You need to calculate both, right? Because your RB will cause the deformation at B itself and at C as well. And then you're gonna have to do another case. Suppose you can guess, you apply the unit load at C this time, and of course you will have deformation. And this will be the deformation at B due to load at C. And this will be deformation at C due to load at C. That's why we have two subscripts. So now you do not wonder why, right? But we're not going to do this. This is for the sake of your knowledge, for the sake of demonstration, the fact that the force method cannot be, done when you have a lot of redundancy. It's just not practical, not viable. It's not feasible. It's not. You could find more advantages in the morning. So in here, your equation should be something like delta B plus delta BB. Delta BB is caused by it, so multiplied by RB plus delta BC multiplied by RC to 0. And delta C, now we consider C plus delta CB multiplied by RB plus delta CC multiplied by RC equal to 0. Because we now have two unknown, right? So you better have two equations and you better solve them at the same time. The fact that we solve these equations at the same time leads to the fact that we call these equations simultaneous. Oh, yeah, okay. Simultaneous equations. Okay. That's why I don't give you more than 1 degree of redundancy. It's becoming a little bit more tedious. And if you get the concept right, you can do it, but it takes more time. So it's no use. 1 degree of redundancy is more than enough to measure whether or not you understand the force method. So any questions now? Yeah, we're gonna have 3 simultaneous equations. So that means it's gonna be a lot more. You see how many displacements you're gonna have to calculate? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you have 3 degree of redundancy, it's gonna become 9, right? So not a hot prospect to do, I'd say. So that's why because we human beings really build indeterminate structures, because for all the reasons in the world, they are much better than the determinate structure. So civil engineers, most of the time, build indeterminate structures. So when you see this, you know that we have to find a better way to deal with this, and it will come next semester. Okay, not now. All right. So with that said, we're gonna try to get into this. So let's begin with this one. Okay. So now you know what we have to do, right? Again, when you see something like this, I would probably my my preference is I remove it because I now will have to deal with the cantilever beam, which I like. It's easy. Okay. So when I remove this, my primary structure will become like. Okay. Five tons here and one ton each. And was now after I remove the redundant, oh, geez. I have this delta V. Okay. So let's don't forget to say that this is 1 degree of the energy problem. Now the catch with a problem like this is that if you understand what you're doing, you know you remove RV. So when you apply the unit load, where do you apply? At B, correct? So it has to be here, not at the tip of the structure, correct? Folks? Okay. And this is going to be my unit load. Again, you can apply it upward. You can apply RB instead of a unit load. It is freestyle here. Whatever it works for you. Okay. So now, if you look at the problem closely, you know the actual moment is going to be here. There is moment at this part, right? But when you look at the virtual part, no moment. Okay? But you have to be careful because let me think. When you apply the unit load for the calculation of the actual load, you still have zero moment here. So in this, you don't really need to write them. But keep in mind, when you look at this B, the moment at B is not zero. It begins with -1, right? There are quite a few things that you can do to try to help you. First and foremost, for those of you who are not really good at writing the equation, you know what you should do? And you know what I'm going to say, right? Free body diagram. So you can, if you don't see it, you can try to draw the free body diagram. You can cut it here. When you cut the section at B, you will see that your beam is like this. The same, right? Because right here is constant moment. If you draw the bending moment diagram, your bending moment diagram from free end should look something like it's a constant until you face the point over here, and it's just going to keep like that. Am I correct? Yeah. So when you can see the structure, you can see the bending moment diagram right away, you will know that okay, that's one equation, that's another equation. And for this, bending moment diagram is like this throughout. So that's just one equation. So if you can look at this, this is a constant, so it's pretty easy, right? And this is one equation. So if this is constant, you can just select your beginning point x from here and use it throughout, because it would not matter here as well, because it's just a constant. Okay, so try to see the structure from the beginning to the end. See it throughout, see what the bending moment should look like, and therefore you can probably make a better judgment in the beginning how you should write your moment equation. If you are going to use the virtual world, of course. But maybe I put the microphone too far away from me, so that's why folks can't hear very well. You know why I have to put the microphone far away from me? I just realized a few weeks ago that they cleaned it up with alcohol, right? So if you put the microphone very, very near your mouth, you sort of inhale alcohol every week. And before I know it, I'm going to be addicted to it. And one day you may see me, you know, with the alcohol in the nose, like walking every day. You know? Oh, just carry some changes, please. I'm addicted to alcohol. No, it's not going to be that bad, but yeah, it is. It's pretty, smells pretty strong. So anyway, let's say, now we have the, big M. Okay. I think we're gonna need two equations. So let's say, I already call that B, right? How often? Anyway, if I call this B, I may call that A, and what about that one? Say C. No. So let's say portion BC. I write BC because I tend to tell myself that I'm gonna write the moment equation from B. Okay, that's negative moment equal to 1, so that's minus 1. And the small m due to the unit law is gonna be minus x, right? Anyone cannot see this? Minus x, right? And minus 1. And range, that's from 0 to 3. Okay, and now portion CB. The moment here now becomes minus 1. Now that's a catch. So I'll wait for you. Probably you now have a decision to make, whether or not you begin another X here, right? Or you keep your X here at this origin. It's pretty tempting because let's say if you want your new X, I'm going to call this X prime, right? If you want to write your moment, this is the common mistake that students make. If you want to renew your origin, your moment equation for this actual load case will become very easy, correct? It's going to be equal to minus 1 minus 5x. Right? Do you agree? And please do yourself a favor. As soon as you write your moment equation, try to plug in the number of the of x and see if it gives you the proper moment equation. Because right here you know that this moment is minus 1, right? So at the beginning here, it must remain minus 1. So if you write it like this, it's minus 1 equal minus 5x. Your x should begin from 0 to 3. And when you plug in x equal to 0, you still have moment equal to minus 1. Okay? But if you want to change your x and begin here, you must apply this same x prime with this case as well. You can't go about your business. Okay, I'm gonna use my new x prime here, but I will use the same x here. That demonstrates the fact that you do not understand mathematics. Because in the end, we have to multiply big M and small m, right? The only way that you can multiply two functions is that they share the same domain. If one has the domain from 0 to 3, another one has 3 to 6, you can't multiply them. So if you want to use this easy equation, you must sacrifice here. And therefore, this is going to become, what's the moment here? It's minus 3, right? Because it's 3 meters. So if you substitute x equal to 3 here, you get minus 2. Or you can just again cut the free body diagram and you will see that if you cut the free body diagram here, your free body diagram here is something like 1 and then minus 3, right? That's your free body diagram. The fact that you cannot write proper or correct moment equation is because you do not see the picture, or because after you don't see the picture, you refuse to draw free body diagram. If you draw the free body diagram, you see right away that this is minus 3 minus x. And here is minus 1 minus 5x. So this is your first alternative. Excuse me. I try to do a better job, maybe use the different color. Oh, you're right. Thank you. It's actually yes, yeah. Okay, and this is in the range 0 to 3. But you can also keep this equation by using the I should say x prime, or I can maintain my equation here, and my range is going to be from 3 to 6. But then again, I must change my equation here as well, right? If I want to keep my x at b, this equation will become minus x minus 5 and then x minus 3. Because you see, if you know what, why do I write it down here? You see, when you look at this, if I plug in x equal to 3 here, the second term becomes 0, and I still have minus 1 moment, which is exactly what it is. And then when I plug in x equal to 6, this is 3, right? 3, it's minus 15 and then minus 60. Here, when I plug in x equal to 3, I get minus 60. So it's the same. It gives the same number of moment, but the difference is that one equation begins with x prime from here, another begins with x from there. So you have a choice. If you can see ahead what's going to happen, you should be able to plan ahead a little bit. And now you look at the equation, see which one you like better, and you use that one. But of course, it should come out to be the same. And the fact that you can now you may choose this one for the calculation of the actual displacement. But when it comes down to the virtual one or the reaction, you can use this, right? But you cannot use this with that or this with this because of mathematics. You need to multiply the function, so you must have the functions with the same range and same origin. You can't multiply the two functions with different ranges and different origin. So if you choose to do this, so I can write down for you so that you see the better picture. The actual deformation of B is now equal to integral from 0 to 3 minus 1 minus x. We have a constant EI, right? dx over EI plus integral from 0 to 3 minus 1 minus 5x multiplied by minus 3 minus x prime 1 dx prime over EI, which is going to be exactly the same as this one, or delta B is equal to this. Oops, sorry. Minus x, the first term should be similar, right? Plus, now from 3 to 6, minus 1 minus 5 x minus 3 multiply by, if I choose this, I choose minus x dx over ER. These two should be the same. It should give you the same result. It's up to you. Any questions? Hello? Are you with me? Hello? You want to talk to me? Huh? That's nice. Mother heard something. So, my calculation gives me you can try check with me because I haven't done this, but I get 130.5 I think over EI. Try to get this. That's the deformation, vertical deformation at V due to the actual load. Okay, and now let's say it's not the actual. Now it's delta VB, and now sorry. Now you see the benefit of using this equation because now I can, if you can recall, there's a small rule in calculus saying that if it's from A to B, fx dx plus from B to C, fx dx, this is equal from A to C, fx dx. There's such thing, right, in calculus? It's a gimmick, but you know, there's a rule like that. So don't look at me like this. I haven't done anything strange. I just brought up something that you totally forgot about, right? So, okay, let's remove it. You don't need to write it. My point is that I can now perform integrations from 0 to 6 minus x minus x dx over EI. But some of you are just so, I don't know, so inflexible, so to speak. You will do this 0 to 3 minus x dx over EI plus 3 to 6 minus 3 minus x minus 3 minus x dx over EI. But you know, it's going to come out the same thing. But this looks much more, say, intimidating. That's what I was looking for. You know what it means? Intimidating, scary. Try to give you would say give you a hard time. That's the first word the word that I heard probably the first time when somebody trying to describe how my advisor looks like. He looks intimidating, looks scary, but at the very time person. He's a big guy, he's big, and his voice is like, "How are you today?" Like that. So, and he's a kind of well-known in the engineering community, so. But I didn't know that, so I wasn't scared. I was really fascinated by how he looked at engineering, so and so. So myself, it's possible trying to work with him, but it was great joy of my life. Anyway, okay, so that will give you roughly 72 over EI. Okay, so now we've got the two displacements. It means that we can now create our compatibility. If you go look at the clip from last year, and if you look at the here now with our point, you see that I have established the steps for you to follow, but I don't think it's that necessary, so that sometimes I don't write the steps. But I now I look at it, maybe I should. Oh, so okay. Let's try to put that in play. Okay, this is step number one. You know, we determine redundancies, right? Degree of redundancies. So we know it's a 1 degree of redundancy. Step number two is here. They create primary structure, right? Create primary. So that's step number three is the here deformation at B due to the actual load, and this is step number four. You know, the deformation due to the reaction, and here's the last step, step number five, compatibility equation. Notice that I apply the unit load in the downward direction, and I got all the positive numbers, right? Which means the deflection are downward. The first number here indicates that I actually have the downward deflection here with the actual load. The second positive here indicates that I have deflection here, delta BB downward, just like because I applied the unit load downward. So it's a downward deflection here, it's a positive one because the direction of delta BB is similar to the direction of the unit load that I applied. But when I construct the compatibility, I now have 130.5 over EI plus 72 over EI multiplied by RB equal to 0. And so my RB turns out negative in the end because minus 1.8125 tons, because now the direction of the reaction is opposite of the direction of the unit load that I apply. If I apply the unit load upward, I will get this deformation, you know, with the different side convention. Because now we have a downward moment in the upward. So some numbers are going to turn out negative. And in the end, the reaction should come out positive, because if I apply the unit load upward, the reaction is also upward. And the result should be positive because now the direction of the reaction is similar to the direction of the unit load. But I am so used to the downward load because we all take care of gravity load, right? All the gravity load is downward, so I'm very comfortable applying the downward load. So in the end, my reaction is negative. So it's nothing to be, you know, fearful about. Okay. So now, let us complete this problem. Now, some of you may think, oh, I haven't shown you anything, but when you have saw one reaction, this whole thing becomes determinate, right? Because now, even though this is a roller, you already know that this is 1.8125. And now you basically, if you can forget about this roller, you know, it means that you just have a cantilever beam. And you just use your basic statical knowledge to solve the races of beam. 1 ton meter. Now we have 5 tons here. Okay. I want to complete this because say you should see how the shear force and bending moment diagram look like. Okay. Now, if you can recall, I can do some crazy thing, but maybe not this time. Okay, let's wait. The moment here is, in fact, if you can recall, I have sort of plugged this in. Now that I know that my end moment here is 16, right? Because if I plug in x equal to 3 here, and that's minus 16, right? If I plug in x equal to 3 here in this equation, I got minus 60. That is the reaction. because this is my moment equation. So I can use this to obtain my reaction, correct? Or I can plug in here 6 in this, like you got minus 16. So you know the reaction of a normal cantilever beam is minus 16. Now I have this in extra. So that means I can easily calculate this as minus 16 plus 1.8125 multiplied by 6. Are you confused by how I got this? You're not? Let's, this is called superposition, because from the beginning, I split this beam into 2 cases, right? The first case is this, 5 and 1, right? And then I have the second case due to reaction. So when I want to calculate my moment here, can I calculate one case and then add about one case and then add them up? Can I do that? Of course I can, because I believe in superposition. Right? So minus 16 here comes to this. First case. So now I just add the moment into RB, which is the RB itself multiplied by 6, right? Is 6. So that's in moment. It is 3.1875 points. And of course, the reaction should be piece of cake now. 5 and that 1 point. Oops, sorry, That's it. That's I looked at the wrong one. This is the reaction. This is equal to 5.125 hundred. Sorry about that. So now piece of cake, we can complete the shear force diagram in 10 seconds. That's your 3.18 coming here and meet 5, so it drops down. That 1.81. Your shear force diagram in tons. And your bending moment diagram, that 5 point minus 5.125, and we're gonna have a little bit of a positive moment here because this area is big enough. It goes up to so not a good picture. Let me redraw. I try to draw things on scale. Like that. 4.4375. And this should of course bring it back down to minus 1. But that's your bending moment diagram. Okay? In ton meter. And give you a minute. If you think the room is too cold, please feel free to adjust the temperature by using the remote control, because I think it's kind of cold too. But I can withstand that. Okay, now, you guys ready? Almost, maybe. Folks at home, you have a question? So, okay, when you look at this, now when you see the bending moment diagram, what you should see right now is the fact that this is positive moment, this is negative moment. So 2 point of inflection. Okay, I just found out one explanation that I just told the second year student in the regular program. You know, I have never thought about it this way, so let me share with you as well. When you look at the positive moment, you know, this is your sign convention of the positive moment, right? It's a typical sign convention that you've been using since the second year. Notice what? In the positive sign conventions, you have the load that is trying to push your beam up, no matter where you look. If you look from the left, this load is pushing up. If you look from the right, this load is pushing up. So that's how you can easily determine the positive moment, right? And the negative moment is the opposite. You have the load trying to push your beam down from both sides. That's why you don't see me write free body diagram when I write moment equation or moment diagram. Because if I look at the load, okay, this moment, for example, this moment is pushing your beam down, right? It's bringing your beam down, so it's negative. This one is pushing up, so it's positive. You can see that, right? It works both ways. This is your sign convention in a nutshell. So if it helps, please try to use this idea. You don't have to like today, let's say clockwise positive, counterclockwise negative, and spend like 10 minutes thinking about which one is clockwise. I'm not so sure. Are you still like this? But you know, they have to begin by teaching you the clockwise, counterclockwise. But if you're in the third year now, you should be able to see things like this very easily. Anyway, back to this. You see this. This is positive moment. And positive moment looks like this. So you know your deflected shape should be like this. That's positive. Right? Just like this. It's not just about the shape, and it's not just about the sign, it's also about the shape. And when you see the negative moment, you see your beam is going to deflect like that. That's a negative moment, right? This is the information that you can obtain from your bending moment diagram. But you can try to guesstimate what's going to happen to your beam even before you begin all your hula baloo with the numbers. Because if you look at the beam, okay, here, let's say no calculation at all. You see this is the moment. So it's bringing your beam down, right? It's right there. It's trying to do this. So your beam, without any other load here, it has to come down. You can't bring your beam up with that moment. It has to bring your beam down. So you would expect, okay, you must have a negative moment because the only way your beam can deflect is that. So you can't have positive moment. It's impossible. It's physically impossible. And then here is a fixed example. If you say you're going to have a positive moment, it means that the curvature is going to look like this. The only way that your curvature is going to look like that at this kind of support is because it is broken. So the only way that your structure can deform at the fixed support is this. With the downward load, it can go up like that if the load goes up, right? But it's not going up. It's going down. So, you know, these two curvatures you can see from the very beginning. And if this load is heavy enough, it should push your structure down. So if you have the load pushing your structure down, the only curvature you can have is positive. You can't have negative moment. So you can guesstimate from the beginning, okay, your structure will probably do this. The positive thing here, but you have negative here. So the only way you can have this is by having a point of inflection, because that's where your curvature changes. Get the behavior right, and numbers will follow. And this has to be negative. And if you are going to have positive, you must have another point of inflection. Now there is another possibility, but the time is up. So let me, you want me to sketch another possibility or you want a break now? What do you mean? Save it. Yeah, either way, it's fine. Okay, you know what? That's gonna take a minute. So another possibility is this. Let's say you have this. Okay. Same. But this load is light. And this is huge. The possibility is that if this is so large, so you bring the structure down very badly, much more so than this. Your structure can do this. It may not have the positive curvature at the midpoint. Think about, let's say, if your big friend is standing here, your tiny friend is standing in span. The heavy guy can just jump here and can just push up the very tiny persons, right? So it depends on the balance of the load. If the load right here is very heavy, it can push your structure up. Just the same way as when you have that. So the only way that this beam can deform is this, right? That's when you can have the pure negative moment throughout the case. But if there is a load heavy enough here, it may push your beam down. So you can have something like that. But you know, if we stop everything that we blurred and I teach you first from the statics, hey, can you imagine how your structure would deform under the load without doing any calculation at all? I believe that you probably can. Because we can teach this to high school kids. Can you guess how this thing is going to deform under the load? They probably can't. But ask them to calculate, they cannot. But now you can calculate, but you forget to see how things gonna turn out for you, right? Because you get to involve in numbers. So let us try to in the old days they called this sense of engineer. You're gonna have some sense here. And let me tell you, you say it's a common sense. Common sense is not so common. Right? So anyway, any questions? So we can afford to have a break now. But let me ask you, would you like to have a 10-minute or 15-minute break as usual? But last time it was 10, right? What about this time? 10. Okay, so let's have 10-minute break. We should be back at about 10:37 or 38. Give you another 1 more minute. Okay.